Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. On October 31st, 2025, the Idaho State Police dropped a massive amount of new information regarding the work that the Idaho State Police did in the investigation into the crimes at 1122 King Road. There is one document that was just released in this set that raises enormous questions, more questions than answers. This is the Idaho State Police Forensic Services Evidence Submission Receipt. This tells us someone from the Moscow Police Department, that's the submitting agency, produced information for forensic testing. The date of the crimes, November 13th, 2022, a date that we are all too familiar with. The date of the catastrophic events at 1122 King Road. We see the case number, we see the county of origin, Latah County, we see the offense, and then we see the name of the investigating officer, Dustin Blaker. If you go through these documents, there's over 3,300 pages. You will come up with Dustin Blaker's name over and over and over again versus the name of Brett Payne, who the public understood was the lead detective on the case, assigned lead investigatory responsibilities at the Moscow Police Department. We first learned the names of Dustin Blaker and Brett Payne together when the affidavit of probable cause was dropped. That was dated December 29th, 2022. This 18-page document asked for an arrest warrant for Mr. Kohberger that was issued that very same day. Page 1 of that affidavit of probable cause told the public that Detective Payne first arrived at 1122 King Road on November 13th, 2022, along with Dustin Blaker. If we look at, now bearing in mind the date of this submission, December 5th, 2022, if we look at page number 2 of this 5-page document, you will see that the first line of page 2 has suspect checked off, but the suspect name is redacted, along with the suspect date of birth. Directly underneath, Brian Kohberger, suspect. Bearing in mind this date of December 5th, 2022, this is quite confusing because on January 23rd, 2025, Detective Payne was one of several witnesses who got up on the stand before Judge Stephen J. Hippler in Mr. Kohberger's presence, sitting there at the defense table with his defense team, prosecution team, also present that day in the courtroom. Detective Payne raised his right hand and he was administered an oath to tell the truth under penalty of perjury, which is a felony, meaning that every word out of his mouth he swore was truthful. And in my opinion, I don't think that Detective Payne would have ever gotten up on that stand without being talked to a little bit by the prosecution team. If we go to page number 9 of this transcript, you're going to see a series of questions that were posed to Detective Payne by Mr. Kohberger's lead counsel, Ann C. Taylor, on that day, December 23rd, 2025. QA means the questions that you see here are posed by Ms. Taylor to Detective Payne. The A stands for Detective Payne's answer. So let's go over the first 15 lines of page number 9. Question by Ms. Taylor to Detective Payne. Okay. As such, did you participate in a search for the suspect? Answer by Detective Payne. Yes, ma'am. Question by Ms. Taylor. And when was the first time you heard Brian Kohberger's name? Answer by Detective Payne. The first time I heard Brian Kohberger's name was December 19th, 2022. Question, Ms. Taylor. And what was that a result of? Answer by Detective Payne, again under oath. That was a result of investigative genetic genealogy that was being undertaken by the feds. We had a phone call that evening, and we were told Brian Kohberger's name. That evening, ladies and gentlemen, if we look up at line 6 and 7, was the evening of December 19th, 2022. Line 13, question by Ms. Taylor. And before that, Mr. Kohberger was not on your radar. Answer by Detective Payne. No, ma'am. In reviewing this transcript, and this was the transcript from a day of hearings on the defense's motion to suppress, that is to suppress evidence, and also there was some testimony taken with respect to the defense motion for a Frank's hearing. This information tells us that Detective Payne is testifying under oath that the first time he heard Brian Kohberger's name was the evening of December 19th, 2022, when we have just seen reports from the Idaho State Police lab that his partner, who he drove over to 1122 King Road with, Sergeant Blacker, submitted something with Mr. Kohberger's name on it as a suspect 2 weeks earlier, December 5th, 2022. The rhetorical question that must be asked is, how is it possible that the lead detective on the case, the person who signed his name to the affidavit of probable cause, 18 pages in total, was not aware of Mr. Kohberger until December 19th, 2022, when Sergeant Blacker indicated that the Moscow Police Department was aware of Mr. Kohberger as early as December 5th, 2022. These are opinions, thoughts, comments that we provide relative to the First Amendment of the United States Constitution. If you have any comments, any thoughts, any opinions, please leave them here. And until next time, this is Kathy. Thank you for joining us here today.